What's going on, guys? Welcome to the pros and cons for Manchester United and the Chelsea game. And we have just beaten 2-1. Many quality individual performances, which is what we like to see. But even better, a solid team performance in a week where there's been a lot of pressure on the manager. There's been leaks to the dressing room. There's been journalists banned from the press conference. And there was a lot of pressure, let's face it. There was a lot of pressure. And the performance that we put in for a full 90 minutes, by the way, was fantastic. So I'm excited to dive into his pros and cons because there's loads of positives to talk about and hardly any negatives at all. So let's dive into it. Look, the only kind of negatives I would say coming out from this game, I don't necessarily think it's any kind of individual players. There was a few moments in the game yesterday which are almost forgivable. But, you know, you got like Amrabat losing the ball, Maguire slipping, Anthony's decision making. It was like very little nitpicky things. So some people might not even say it's a negative. And we was a bit open at the back at times. Didn't think Lindelof, showed his best side. But, that in comparison to the actual performance in itself, it means nothing. We won the game. The thing I would say with this is I'm not trying to get ahead of myself too much. It's a win against Chelsea. It's fantastic. But we need to build on this now. We need to start seeing these performances consistently. And then we can really start talking about what kind of team Man United want to be. Right, that's it. We're going to talk about positives because I don't even know where to start with this one. Let's go to the big one. Obviously, McTominay scoring a brace was huge, right? I didn't think his performance overall in midfield was amazing. I thought he left Amrabat isolated sometimes again. But what he does well is scoring goals. And people say that's one of the hardest things to do in football, right? So getting 2 goals last night ultimately won us the game. I think he won man of the match as well. He's obviously favoured under Ten Hag at the minute. He starts every single game, plays nearly 90 minutes every single game. So is he starting to become an important player now? I don't know. I don't think he is for the future. I think, Eric Ten Hag was in a moment where his back's against the wall. You bring out your fighters. I mean, McTominay is certainly one of them. I thought he spoke really well after the game. In his interview, he was saying, he actually said that he plays for the manager, he backs the manager. Everyone was 100%. A lot of players were world-class today, Bruno, Harry, etc., etc. And it was real unity. And can he do that in the games against City, Arsenal, Madrid, in the Champions League or whatever? I don't think he can. But he can exploit Chelsea, and he certainly did that. So fair play, McTominay, you won us the game. Next up, Alejandro Garnacho. I mean, this kid for 18 years old, he was my personal man of the match. I'm not mad at McTominay for getting it. But Alejandro Garnacho was fantastic. I mean, beating the man every time he got it. It was left, right, had Cucurella on absolute ice skates, falling over left, right, centre, linking up with players really, really well. Had a relationship with Reguilon when he came on as well. Him and Bruno working together, little patterns, getting shots off. I mean, our expected XG, I think, was like 4.43 or something ridiculous. We created loads of chances. Could he have finished maybe a couple of them when he was one-on-one with Sanchez? For sure. But like I've just said, this kid's 18, man. He's got the world at his feet, and that left-hand side is now his for the foreseeable. Unless Marcus really starts getting into that form he was last season, Garnacho has to start there now every single game. And I'll get on to the next winger shortly. But I thought his performance was terrific. He's getting more mature as well, which is weird to say because, like I said, because he is so young. But you can see his performance is starting to develop and he's getting better and better and better and better. And that is exciting. Really, really exciting. And long may it continue his development because he's starting to look like a really dangerous player. Again, it's Player of the Month, Mr. Harry Maguire, who's in the conversation yet again. Solid performance, winning duels, aerial duels, reading the situation well, which is a surprise sometimes because that's something that he's been slated for before, scanning the game. You see him stepping into midfield, stepping out onto the right wing at certain. I was like, Harry, what are you doing, mate? What's going on here? But he seems confident. It's nice to have a confident Harry Maguire and to go through the trail of shit that he's gone through. He's literally like Andy Dufresne, Shawshank Redemption. He's gone through the trail of shit and he's out on the other side. And he's getting his flowers now and he deserves it because he's received dog's abuse for years and years and years and years. Never said anything about it, really. Just got his head down, worked hard, found his way back into the team, and is an integral defender to that system now. Will it work? If you're trying to play a higher line, if you want to play proactive in a certain way, I don't know. I still don't know. I don't think so, personally. But, Rafael Varane wasn't even in the squad. I think he's injured again. So we are going to need him, whether people like it or not. And, again, Maguire deserves his flowers. Sofyan Amrabat. Okay, let him cook. A lot of these positives are going to be about individual players because it's a surprise to the system for me personally. I was getting a little bit worried about Amrabat. I've seen him in certain games. I liked his first few cameos when he came in at left back and he was pinging the ball left, right, centre. I was like, oh, it's all right, this player. Someone who's decent in possession, combative, who off it can win the ball back. And a few games after that, I weren't entirely sure. Looked a little bit sluggish on the ball. Was misplacing passes. Maybe lost a little bit of confidence. Didn't really have a pre-season, which got mentioned on one of our live shows, which I think is a fair point. But against Chelsea, against a midfield that's worth 235 million quid, or 235 million euros, he was the best midfielder on the pitch for me. So, monstrous performance. I think he had like 11 ball recoveries, 5 out of 7 ground duels, won 100% of his tackles, somewhere like they're rough stats. But look, amazing performance. And if he could perform like that, our midfield wouldn't be bad. I would still, I think me and Sam said this in the review after the game, but I would still like to see Amrabat and Kobe Mainoo together and see how that would work. Maybe he'll try it against the Bayern. Maybe he'll try it against, a team who will have a lot more possession. I don't know. But Scott's a goal threat equally, so maybe you can tinker it in certain games. But Sofian Amrabat, please play like that every game because I would be less worried. I thought he was fabulous. Yeah, we've got another individual, Anthony. Huge price tag, 85 million quid. People writing him off, or people have wrote him off. I mean, I think I've probably said it on the live show, so I'm fed up with him. Consistently doing the same things. I mean, there was still things in his game. Again, me and Sam spoke about it, where decision making, not playing the right pass, not using his right foot. But I thought he certainly set the tone and the pressing with his aggression and his willingness. And he was like dragging people along with him. He was like, Dallo, get there, blah, blah, blah. You can see why Ten Hag likes him. You see why he's a Ten Hag player. Keeping the shape, pressing in certain moments, quick thinking in them kind of situations where you need it. I don't know. There's still a question mark for me over Anthony's head at the moment. I don't know if he will become the player that everybody, what Erik Ten Hag thinks he will. But again, it's another one where you're like, if you did that every week, people wouldn't be, on your back as much. He looked happy yesterday. He obviously won the penalty as well. So let's build on it. Let's not just have a performance like this and then go away from it, because that was probably one of his best performances in a red shirt I've seen. Personally, that and Barcelona probably. So let's start building on this now. Do this every week in, week out, Anthony, and quiet the people down who are criticising you. So yeah, all in all, the last positive I'm going to discuss is the team, because I mentioned it before, in a week where Erik Ten Hag's neck was on the line. You've got players, certain players, whoever it is, I don't know whoever it is, that is leaking stuff again. Journalists being banned from press conferences, the media just turning it into a circus. United being spoken about every single day from every single angle. Going into this game, it's like, if you lose this, it's like, fucking hell. Because then you've got Bayern, you've got Liverpool, you've got Villa on Boxing Day. Pressure mounts up. And I just think a win like this now, plus the news next week, pending that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's coming in with Jean-Claude Blanc and all these changes happening, is at the right time. And it sometimes these kind of wins are underrated because the momentum it can give to managers and players, it can just completely change a season sometimes. I'm not saying it will, I'm not saying it'll be the catalyst, but that's all we can hope, right, as fans. So I thought, great for the team, really, really great. Everybody's happy, the manager's happy, fans are happy because they've witnessed a performance for a full 90 minutes, by the way. So let's kick on from this, let's build on this, and let's start getting some results. And it starts with Bournemouth on Saturday, because if you don't beat Bournemouth on Saturday, what's the point of beating Chelsea, right? 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Let's build on this. Thank you very much for watching the pros and cons. I appreciate every single one of you guys for constantly tuning into Real Reds Talk. We are building day by day, much like Manchester United. We're still in a transitional phase, but after a year and a half or 18 months, whatever it's been, we're getting close to 4,000 subscribers. So if you can, please do subscribe, leave a like on the video, and I'll see you guys for the Bournemouth preview. Take care. See you in a bit.